So you guys have been, obviously, like you say, you've been through a lot of struggles. And was that hard for you to keep the momentum like going in your business while you were going through these struggles?
Yes, it's just super hard, super hard. I mean, it's this whole entire business,
Yeah.
podcast, interviews, affiliate marketing, coaching, it's all run on momentum, right? The
Yes,
momentum you can build
exactly.
up, you just ride the wave. So
Yes.
once you let go of that momentum, it's really, really, really hard to build it back up, because it's one of those things where, if if you go from broke to rich, then from rich to broke, that hits you harder
Yes.
than anything else. And it's the same thing with business. You build the momentum up, you lose the momentum, and then you're back at point zero. That's really, really hard mentally to keep going. And that's happened to us a couple times, specifically in 2019. But we had to at that point. But yeah, it was very difficult to get back into the swing of things with habits, posting. But it was a lot of just finding ourselves and where we wanted to take the business.
Hi everyone. Today my guest is Josh Cousins. I've known of Josh and his girlfriend Nikki for about 2.5, 3 years now, and it's been absolutely fantastic to see them grow on their journey. So Josh and Nikki started a Facebook group called Good Karma Business, and it's basically teaching entrepreneurs how to monetize Facebook and how to basically use Facebook to grow your business. I'm not going to go into more details because I want Josh to go into more details for us. So hi Josh, how are you doing?
Hey Joy, yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you so much. Great to be here. So thank you so much for having me on. And yeah, I'm glad to be here. Glad to kind of talk about going behind the scenes, the Facebook group, and just kind of the whole journey in general. So looking forward to it.
Thank you so much for agreeing to come on. I've been wanting to interview you guys for forever because I just think what you do is so incredibly inspiring. I mean, you guys really excelled your business in about 2.5 years, and just
Mhm.
watching you grow, and you're so known in the community. People would recommend you, invite me. Like I got invited on your Facebook group by people, and then I invite people on your Facebook group because it's just a beautiful community. It's just really nice to be involved in your tribe, if I can put it like that. What was the deciding factor that you guys started, this online journey with the Facebook organic stuff?
Yeah, it's a good question. Well, Nikki and I, we had both started our businesses back in 2017 and 2018. So
Mhm.
Nikki 2017, myself 2018 on Facebook. And we started off with affiliate marketing. And we had did pretty well, obviously with like like it was a very bumpy road, right? It wasn't the easiest place to get to. But obviously it was a lot, it was after a lot of setbacks. But we pushed through it. We made some money. We made a little nice business out of it. But the thing is we had like a little predicament, which was we just kind of hit a brick wall in terms of we didn't know where to take the business. It wasn't making us happy. And I think it's something not many business owners online specifically talk about, doing something that actually genuinely fulfills you.
Mhm.
And at the time, affiliate marketing just was not fulfilling us. And I remember when we started the Facebook group, prior to that, we had done a little trip around Europe. And we had a few issues, after like a few months, like personal issues that we were facing, and we were kind of in a slump. And I remember it was in August 2019 where Nikki had some surgery done, so she wasn't in a good place mentally or physically. And we hadn't done any business on Facebook for a few months at that point, so kind of things just grinded to a halt. And I basically just sat down and just trying to figure out some ideas of what to do. And then the Facebook group came up. And obviously Facebook groups were really, really, really hot back then. I mean, they still are.
Yeah.
And we just kind of got on the train and we just kind of rode the train from there. We did not expect it to grow it the way it did. It just kind of came just like that. I mean, the main goal for us was just to get some momentum back in the business. But yeah, it's been great. You're an amazing community full of wonderful people. So yeah, it's been pretty nuts. But that's how it got started originally, off
That
of the
is
back of the Europe trip. Yeah.
that is really cool. So your inspiration was then to keep traveling and then have a business while you do that?
Well, at the time we had lost our dog, so we were on the
Oh.
road. Yeah, and he was just like a kid to us, and it was really, really hard. And this then our perspective switched from there. It was really we don't have any responsibilities now. let's just put our head down and just work as much as we can to grow the business to like stupidly big heights, right? And so that was the mindset around it. So we just kind of put traveling on hold at the moment, and yeah, it just kind of evolved from there.
Did you come from a family of entrepreneurs, or did this journey just bite you along the way?
Yeah, it was the same thing for Nikki and I. I mean, I came from a family where not entrepreneurs, workers. I never knew my dad. He left when I was around 6. Funny thing is, I actually met him in 2019.
Oh, wow.
Um, after 16 years. So that was a very cool experience. And then my mum, I grew up with my mum and my brother in France, so she was a single mother. And it wasn't easy growing up. It wasn't a worse life. Looking back on it, I'm super grateful for all the things that I went through. But yeah, it was just financially we weren't in the best place when we were younger. So I feel like it was more of a chip on my shoulder, growing up and kind of having that lack of financial resources when I was younger, really made me want to have that when I was older. So
Mm,
that was my kind of epiphany, so to
yeah,
say, when I was 16ish.
yeah. And it just drives you, right? Because you know what you don't
Yeah.
want, and you definitely know what you can get. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest driving factors though. Once you realize what you don't want, you just do everything you can to avoid that specific thing. And that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember just once I got into the workforce, it was just my main focus, just don't ever get into a place of where you're dependent, where you're not necessarily financially free, but struggling with money.
Mm,
And that was really a goal of mine because I knew how much stress it can bring on to someone's shoulders,
mm.
if you do let it creep in.
Yeah,
So
no,
yeah, that was yeah.
definitely. So you guys have been, obviously, like you say, you've been through a lot of struggles. And was that hard for you to keep the momentum like going in your business while you were going through these struggles?
Yeah, it's just super hard, super hard. I mean, it's this whole entire business,
Yeah.
podcast, interviews, affiliate marketing, coaching, it's all run on momentum, right? The
Yes,
momentum you can build
exactly.
up, you just ride the wave. So
Yes.
once you let go of that momentum, it's really, really, really hard to build it back up because it's one of those things where, if if you go from broke to rich, then from rich to broke, that hits you harder
Yes.
than anything else. And it's the same thing with business. You build the momentum up, you lose the momentum, and then you're back at point zero. That's really, really hard mentally to keep going. And that's happened to us a couple times, specifically in 2019. But we had to at that point. But yeah, it was very difficult to get back into the swing of things with habits, posting. But it was a lot of just finding ourselves and where we wanted to take the business. But we
Yeah.
got there eventually in the end. Still working on a ton of angles for the business, but yeah, it was very difficult to kind of get things back going.
How did you do that? What was like your first step to getting yourself back into momentum?
For me, it was really back in 2019 was just it's either you do it or I don't know what's gonna happen. Like it was, I remember I was sleeping on a mattress on the floor at my stepmom's place. It was a really difficult time, really, really difficult time, and um, it was kind of like back when I started my affiliate marketing business in 2018 when I was 18 years old. And I had went from nothing to $100,000 in around 4 months. It was the same sort of fire that
Yeah.
fueled me, which was you're either going to make this work or you're going to go back to a job or you're just going to be sleeping on the floor for 6 months a year. And that was just a huge driving factor. And I just feel like when you're in a position that you just do not want to be in, you will find the resources to get yourself out of that situation. And that's exactly, I feel like we all have it. We just need
Oh,
to get the
definitely.
fire
Yeah.
under us to get it going. Yeah,
Yeah. Get it going on yourself. I completely agree with you.
absolutely. For
So
sure.
you guys, obviously, you've been doing it now, like I said, from 2019, like really full on, and even before then, you started your business. Do you think that structure helped you guys, to daily to stay, on your goals and things like that?
Yeah, for sure. Structure, like you mean on a day-to-day basis?
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah, getting the admin tasks done, focusing on the clients and the back end side of things, just having a general overview of what your day is going to look like, and setting specific goals that you want to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, helped us tremendously. I remember back when we started the Facebook group, we had no original plan, but we had built up obviously affiliate marketing businesses. So we had some knowledge in terms of Facebook. Then obviously it was just a case of get the Facebook group going.
Hmm.
Then we set a goal to open up our first program, and that was in November 2019. So we had that clear goal in our mind. We went to the UK for a couple months to do that specifically, just to get rid of all distractions and everyone around us. So yeah, clear goals, clear structure in order for you to attain those goals really did propel us a ton in the business side of things.
Yeah, it does help to have that routine and structure in place, keep you
Yeah,
motivated as well. So,
absolutely.
so your Facebook group it grown quite rapidly, right? It really went very fast. So how did you guys get it to grow that quick?
Yeah, we get this question asked a lot, and when we grew this group, we grew it to around 2,000 members in 3 months, and we had done this by solely organically. There was no ads, there was no giveaways, there was no cheat sheets, no crazy stuff like that. Um, it was literally me for a handful of hours each day, because obviously Nikki was off the back of surgery, so she couldn't do any work. And I was just going into Facebook groups, following up with people who liked my post in there, going on my profile, getting the initial group of people in the Facebook group. And I knew I was really good at organic marketing on Facebook. So once I got a handful of people inside of the Facebook group, it really was a case of just over delivering. And I'd say we over delivered a little bit too much. Like there's a ton of content in there. But we were just going absolutely crazy, not selling anything, not pitching anyone, just giving, giving, giving. And that really did propel the Facebook group to like really, really fast growth in the beginning stages, because the thing is, with a lot of Facebook groups, you go in there, you feel sold as soon as you get in there. People trying to sell you something, and that's completely fine. This is business. This is what we signed up for. But I felt like when we started the Facebook group, it was kind of a breath of fresh air, kind of. It wasn't. We didn't have that in mind. It was literally, we have no idea how to run a Facebook group, so we're just going to do it the way we think it should be done. And it kind of evolved into that, really.
Well, it worked very well for you guys,
Yeah, for sure.
definitely.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things, where it's rather focusing on the short term, we just focused on the long term, because like at the end of the day, a lot of people in it are in this business for the short term gains, as much money as they can make in the next month, 6 months, 12 months. But I'm genuinely in it for the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. And obviously, if someone's in it for that long, you have that care for people, for your audience. You're not just there for money, trying to move people's money from their pocket into your pocket. And yeah, that's what really did it for us. I can imagine, because the group grew a lot from word of mouth.
Yeah.
Like 75% of it was from word of mouth, which was crazy. And I genuinely think that, yeah, it was simply based off of that fact. And obviously we did monetize in the end, but we always did it in a way where we're not overselling. Just really wanted to keep it a tight community.
Yes.
So yeah.
Definitely. And I mean, I've learned so much. I'm not very big on Facebook, I have to be honest. Like I used to be back good on Facebook about like probably end of 2018, beginning 2019, but it's not my favorite platform. But when I was into it, I joined your group, and I learned so much. It was just ridiculous. All the content that you have in your, what is it? Your
The guides. Yeah, the
yes, the
guides.
guards, and under the wherever you see, this is how you say with Facebook groups. I don't even know what you call it, but the training that you have in your Facebook,
Yeah.
it is just amazing, and I learned so much from it even back then. Now, this is obviously because Facebook evolves all the time. There's always new things. Do you guys keep up to date with those things, or are you putting it down a course, or how are you doing it at the moment? Because somewhere along the line, you have to monetize all the work and effort that you put into it. So how did you do that step?
Yeah, for sure. So we did end up setting like a program around Facebook. And this program would basically go over the basics of Facebook and then go into the more advanced sides of Facebook, how the algorithm works, how to take advantage of it, how to grow your group, your profile, get engagement, make money. And that's evolved with time now. So it's more of a coaching program. So obviously Facebook is constantly evolving. We've been doing this for 2, 3 years now. And I feel like in business, you get to a point where you need to pivot eventually.
Yeah.
Like, I never saw myself doing Facebook for the next decade. It's not going to happen. So I feel like I love Facebook. It will always be my bread and butter. I spend so much time on this platform. I do stay up to date. We do stay up to date to everything going on. But I feel like in terms of the business, for example,
Yeah.
I would prefer to take it on the sides of actually building a real business rather than just focusing on Facebook.
Yeah.
But to answer the question, we do stay up to date with Facebook. I feel like when you're in it for that long or inside of a specific business or platform, you just kind of know where to look with the new
That's true.
information and what's new and, like
Yeah.
after a few years.
Yeah,
So
that's true. You just kind of know, like I completely get it because I've got a marketing agency and I'm just subscribed to all the right things to keep up to date with all the trends and the things. And it's just like
yeah,
it's just a daily routine, right? It's just the email pop in, you're like, okay, this is a cool new thing I can learn. And yeah, I completely understand that. So,
yeah, it's like
so
supernatural. Yeah.
yeah, it is, right?
Yeah.
What are you guys currently what's your 5-year goal then, Josh? If you, I won't say move away from Facebook, but if you pivot into something a bit different, what is your plans?
For sure, a coaching program, like a fully built out coaching program.
Hmm.
We have like the original program that we were selling on Facebook for our Facebook group. Um, it went from like a live workshop to then we refined it and it's into this full blown coaching program now. Um, and that's something that I really want to put my focus on. I love the group coaching aspect of things where you just get on a Zoom call, there's 20, 30 people on there. You just go through questions for 2, 3 hours. I really, really, really enjoy that. And that's what my long-term goal is, to obviously build this business out on Facebook to as like much as possible in terms
Yeah.
of revenue and clients.
Yes.
So that really is the goal, and not necessarily like, because I've obviously pivoted a lot as well over the last few months, and internally it's really hard to deal with when you're having to deal with things inside of you. So I'm
That's
just
true.
really just trying to figure things out in terms of like what I want to do, having a purpose, making sure that when you sit at your desk, you're happy, you have a smile on your face.
That's it.
That's the most important,
Yep.
because yeah, it's not nice sitting there and just and then you don't feel anything really. So there's a lot of that as well, and I feel like like a coaching program is doing it for me. I love the interaction one on one with people. So yeah, it makes me feel good. So that's the main long term goal in terms of that side of things in the business,
Yeah.
to really build it up as much as possible.
I definitely like that as well. I pivoted my business recently and I went from full on marketing agency where we do things for people to now I'm teaching people how to do it. And I started a subscription program and it's just people coming in and it's a group coaching every month. And the fulfillment in that is so much higher
Yeah,
than helping one person making money, now helping several people make money. It's just,
100%.
it's a good feeling, right? And it's not about like, ooh,
Yeah.
watch me, I'm making money for other people, but it's like their enjoyment of doing it. It's
Absolutely. And on top
yeah,
of that as well, it's like it's great for your business. You get to, like, one-on-one is time consuming. Your time
exactly.
capacity, there's a cap on it. You can
Yep.
only take a certain amount of one-on-one clients. Group
Hmm.
coaching, you can really take on as much as you possibly can. Like,
Exactly.
I know I can have 100 people in the program tuning into calls every single week. I'll be relatively okay. 100 people one-on-one every week is not going to happen. So there's a business aspect of things where it's great for you in terms of money and business, but yeah, dissatisfaction, like, our weekly calls are great because people can tune on. The same people come on every single week and have been for weeks on end now, months on end. I mean, this is great. You just build this community feeling, family feeling.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just awesome. Just an awesome business model.
Yes, and that's exactly it, is that community, right? And people stay for the
Yeah,
community because it's like you're creating a mastermind within this already thing that you've established because people
yeah.
start to know each other. And yeah, completely agree with you. It's really cool. So your avatar, do you guys have a specific avatar or is it just, I don't know, can you dive in a little bit to explain your ideal client?
Yeah, for sure. So our ideal client was mainly prior, because right now we're going through a phase where we're switching a little bit. So prior to this point, it was a lot of any business owner, affiliate marketer, course creator, coach, like really any income level, anywhere, because our program wasn't high ticket. So anyone could really afford it, whether you're a beginner or your high level business owner.
Mm.
But now we switched to high ticket, like we only have one program that is low ticket. So our client avatar has definitely changed towards more established business owners who are making money. Um, Coaches, course creators, mastermind owners, people who really have a business where they're making 5, 10 grand a month.
Mhm.
So they have the money to invest inside of our program, and then we can just help them scale further, because it's something we've realized that taking a beginner from nothing to $1,000 a month is much harder from taking someone from $10,000 a month to say $30,000 a month. Way,
Yes.
way, way harder.
Yes.
So, as a business owner perspective as well, I loved doing that for people who were in the beginning stages of their businesses, but it's very time consuming. It can be very draining.
Mm.
It's very difficult. But when you're dealing with people who are already making some sort of money online, they understand certain aspects of the business. They understand that it doesn't just come overnight. They understand certain
Yeah.
aspects that a beginner wouldn't understand. So,
Mm.
really, more established business owners is our avatar right now.
Yeah. I do understand that completely. And yes, um see, I'm the kindergarten side of it now. So
Yeah.
we used
How
to
are you
be.
enjoying it?
I do actually, I really, really
Yeah.
do. I interviewed
Very
Marley,
cool.
Marley Jacks. I interviewed her
Yes.
a couple of months ago, probably. Well, I interviewed it about a month ago, and she was saying the same. Basically, what you're saying is like she did coach the kindergarten, but then she went to the university level, and she enjoys that better. She's better at it than the kindergarten. I'm thinking, I'm the kindergarten version. Somebody has to coach the kindergarten somewhere, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it just, I think as long as it fulfills you internally, you're
That's
good to
it.
go. You're good to
That's
go.
it.
And it's just a constant evolving, like ever evolving journey. Like this whole business stuff. You really do evolve
Mm,
year after year after year. So like
that's
things
it.
do change, you
Mm.
know? So I like to have both sides of things really, like beginner and intermediate.
It's so cool what you guys have created. Really, really cool. So what drives you to your success?
Um, Good question. Yeah, it's something I've pondered on internally. I think it's got a lot to do with just for me, a lot of internal stuff. Like from where I grew up to, the people I want in my life. Like I kind of want to like just kind of build like for example, my mum owns a house in France, so she paid off in cash when she moved to France, but that was the only little bit of money that she had. And it's this nice big French house, but it's falling down, right? For example, it's
Oh wow.
it's really, really old. It's like 200 years old.
Wow.
And one of my goals is to go there and just renovate the whole entire place. So that's one goal, for example. There's basically on my priority list just to get there ASAP, because that for something is a massive driving factor for me. The place where I grew up, I get to go in there and just do everything up and renovate it. So I feel like little factors like that it's
Mm,
really changed for me over the last 12 months.
mm,
But it really is small things like that, being able to take care of the people that I want to take care of, rather than just sitting down on the computer
mm.
trying to hit $1 million, then $2 million and $3 million and so on and so forth for nothing. I
Yes.
really want to make it enjoyable for me. So that's what really drives me
Yeah.
at the current moment.
Impact and profit. Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, so this show is also for people that they either want to start a business or they're
Hmm.
stuck. They haven't really taken that step, or they have a business and they're like, I don't know where to get to the next level. What advice would you have for somebody that's either stuck or they just haven't really started the business and they've just been pondering about it for a while?
Yeah. Okay. So I guess for if someone is starting their business and they're a little bit stuck,
Mhm.
um, like when you're in the business side of things and then you're evolving, you're gonna have obstacles and you're gonna have struggles. I think at any level in terms of business and life, I think it's important to zoom out. So, are you involved in cryptocurrency?
Mm-mm.
No,
No.
like I've been dabbling in cryptocurrency over the last few months, and there was this whole big market crash and market sell-off a couple weeks ago, and like where Bitcoin lost 60% of its value, and people started freaking out, and then people started selling off all of their cryptocurrency holdings for a loss. And this, like, there's a saying where it zoom out. So you have this market crash over the last couple of weeks, and all people do is focus on the market crash rather than zooming out over the last 2, 3, 4 years. And then you'll see there's been a steady uptrend, right, in the cryptocurrency space. So it kind of relieves you from this pain and this loss that you've had over the last couple of weeks, when you
Okay.
know that over the last 2, 3, 4 years there's been an uptrend. So these dips happen, and I feel like it's the same when it comes to business. At any level, it makes me
Yeah.
feel good when I think about this. That, yeah, I might sit down on my computer, and then maybe for a week or two I might have some troubles. It could be anything. It could be tax. It could be clients. It could be anything, right?
Yeah.
Um, but then I just look at where I started, where I came from,
Yeah.
look at all the growth that I've done and I've had. It
Hmm.
really makes me feel confident that I know that this is only a temporary part in a business, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Um, but I feel like that's just a really valuable piece of advice for anyone at any level, because you're going
That's
to have
true.
these hurdles and struggles and obstacles. But if you just know that things are going to be okay, it kind of gets you moving your ass to the next, hurdle, and so on and so forth, So that was just the mindset I've always had, honestly, since I
Yeah.
started my business, where I was like, things are going to be okay. Not okay now, but they'll be okay soon.
Yeah.
So just know that things are going to be okay and have full confidence that it will work out. Because a lot of it is just internal motivation, self-esteem, being
Mm-hmm.
able to know that you can do it, your
That
outlook on your abilities.
that
Like,
confidence.
yeah,
Yeah.
like there's so much that goes into like running a successful business,
Yeah.
but very few of it is tactics and strategies and how to run Facebook ads and how to do this and how to do that. Like, a lot of it is mindset.
Internal.
And
Mm.
yeah, but the problem is, though, is in this industry, mindset is talked about so much by every single entrepreneur and marketer that it becomes taboo to talk about nowadays, where it's a bit, mindset again, but that's the thing, where now a lot of people overlook it, but that's where it all starts, really, isn't it? Like internal confidence of yourself, that you can make it work.
I watched something the other day of Josh 40. It was an old thing that I discovered of his. It was, I think he actually published it like 2 years ago. And he was talking about identity. And if you don't and really believe within yourself that you're going to make $1 million, and if you don't actually adopt that identity, you would not get there. And I was like, I never thought of it as identity the way that he explained it. And I'm thinking, well,
Mm.
that's a twist on mindset. Because you, like
Yeah,
you
for
say,
sure.
everybody's just constantly talking about mindset, and he's coming as like, it's the same concept, but it's just he's just phrasing it differently, and the way that he explained it was very cool. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
that's really nice.
that's a
So
good
yeah.
analogy. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Josh, what is the biggest thing that you guys offer people at the moment? So, if people want something from you as far as Facebook stuff goes or coaching, etc., what is your offering at the moment that you can offer people?
Yeah, so there's a few different offers. So we have one-on-one packages, which is the
Yes.
highest one.
Hmm.
But the one thing that the main focus is our coaching program. So our coaching program, people can jump in there. They get a recorded program, for example, along with weekly calls. So that's like our main offering that we do offer people for their businesses to grow and scale organically. And that
Okay.
really is just our main focus, because again, one-on-one, we can only really fill out a few spots here and there.
Yeah.
And then we just have like a tiny small ticket program that teaches people the ins and outs of Facebook, really educating people on the platform. Because I think it's important that when you're running a business on a specific platform, you kind of need to understand the history of the platform, to understand the algorithm, to understand the business point of view of, for example, Facebook, and how the business model works for them. Because once you understand that, you understand that, hey, yeah, like
Mm.
Facebook's most likely always going to be around, because
Yes.
that's the business model it serves. As soon as it doesn't, and for example, organic reach goes to crap and doesn't work anymore, Facebook business model does not work anymore. So,
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah, that's really what our programs are around: education, showing them the tactics and strategies,
Yeah.
keeping them accountable, and really on the go. So that's
Yes.
what we have right now: free offers.
That's really cool. And we will drop the links below so you guys can go and check out everything that Josh and Nikki have to offer. Now, more on a personal note, Josh? And
Mhm.
I'm sure I'm not just asking for myself. When are you and Nikki gonna get married? Is that something? Because you guys have been together forever. Is that like in the next 10 years? Is that coming eventually?
I don't know really. I don't know. Like it's a good question. It will happen. It will happen. We've been together for 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
So it will happen very, very soon. We just got to find the right time in terms of like where we want to live and like what we want to do and but it will happen. It will happen. We'll make it public. We'll make it public. We might have like a little private ceremony. We thought about it when we do get married though. It will be no family, no friends, just Nikki and I, our little baby dog. And yeah, just a nice, quiet little ceremony.
That would be so cute. Because you guys are I just adore you guys as a couple. I just think like and the way that you just work business together and you both just have these giving personalities and just want to serve your communities. It's just fantastic to see your growth over the last years. Do
Thank
you
you.
do you have anything else that you want to add to the audience that I might have missed?
Mm, yeah, I think one little thing would be like kind of like an important perspective that I believe everyone should have in terms of business,
Mhm.
because a lot of the time you can go on social media, you think the business is easier than it actually is. But we all know that it that it isn't, right? It's really, really
It's
difficult.
not.
Like you know, you're faced with the struggle at first to make money. Then once you're making money, you got to pay taxes, and that's a whole nother problem. Then you've got like scaling a business, then you've got actually making enough money to put in your pocket and then live your life and stuff like that and expenses. So I feel like an important perspective to have, it's have the right expectations. And I always set the right expectations for myself internally, and that is that things are going to be hard, but they can be achieved. So I don't never go into anything with blindsided thinking that it's going to be really, really easy. I just set my I just set the expectation right off the bat from the get-go,
Mhm.
knowing that this is going to be very hard. Like you're doing something like entrepreneurship, running a business, you're doing something that most people are not willing to do or cannot do to live a life most can't. So it's one of those things where if that's the case, I'm going to be faced with things that most people are not going to be able to do. And, that's plowing through those hard days, putting in the work, self esteem, confidence in yourself that you
Yeah.
can achieve it. Like stuff that's really, really, really difficult. So setting the right expectation, things are going to be hard. But, in the long term, obviously, if you keep pushing, you can
Mm.
get to a point where all of that stuff does pay off.
I love that. That is a fantastic advice. Thank you, Josh. This has been fantastic. Thank you so much for providing your time to me and having this interview and sharing your knowledge with the audience. I really appreciate your time and you.
Absolutely, Joy. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. Glad we did it in the end. I know we've been trying to do this for like ages now, and obviously time zones and everything. But yeah, glad we got
Yeah.
it done. Super, super pumped and very much appreciated.
Thank you. We'll talk to you again
Awesome.
soon.
Thank you, Joy. Take care.